Good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. I don't know about you. I don't know about the Dallas Cowboys. But I am ready for this game to get on. We're sitting here 2 days, 8 hours, 23 minutes, and 20 seconds away from kickoff. And it seems like it's just, I feel like a kid at Christmas. It just can't get here soon enough. I'm hoping that that's what the players feel like last year, and we're going to revisit last year and everything that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. But I hope that this is like, not like last year where they were nervous, that they were scared. They were not quite ready to play against the San Francisco 49ers. And before we get into all of the meat of everything, I'm still kind of surprised on a short week. Literally, this is about as short as it gets. You know, San Francisco basically has 8 days to get ready, whereas we have 5. That Dan Quinn is interviewing today with the Denver Broncos. I'm assuming that this is going to be hopefully just a, virtual reality of a Zoom call interview, that he's not flying to Denver to go there, although flying to Denver is only a couple hours from Dallas and a couple hours back. But he was asked this morning, John Machada, shout out to
Damn, Gina.
for sending me the update there. Cowboys Dan Quinn was asked about interviewing for head coaching jobs. He said it's not difficult for him to handle it right now because he's prepared for potential interviews in the spring and the summer. I didn't want to have anything different during the playoff possibility run. So we just got a little insight into Dan Quinn. He came back with the knowledge, having already gone through, he did interview for the Denver job last year as well as some other ones. But he went through the spring and the summer when it's not as much work to do, preparing for these interviews. So that way he doesn't have to do a whole lot of study. I got to get my resume together. His resume last week spoke for itself. So basically he's saying it's not a distraction. Now, there's nothing like just criticism, and it's right to criticize people, but you have to at least try to criticize them and be objective and give credit where credit's due. Going into the season, Eagle fans weren't sure about Jalen Hurts. Philly 500 said flat out, the whole season is going to be whether or not we can get Jalen Hurts to the next level, and if we can't, we got the picks to try and replace him. There was doubt. I doubted it. Philadelphia kept sending me, tweets that if Jalen Hurts plays like, OTA Jalen Hurts, they're going to the Super Bowl and stuff. Well, okay, so I have to give credit where credit's due to Philadelphia, even though he is a spammer with like 40 emojis on every post. I don't know how you have enough time to post that many emojis. I have a hard time just getting 1 or 2. But he puts 40 on every post. I mean, good God, man. But you have to give credit where credit's due. Jalen Hurts has been the difference maker for the Eagles, and I have to say that even though I'm a Cowboys fan. Be objective. But when I hear stuff like this is just, come on, man. Are you just doing this for effect? Are you trying to make a name for yourself or something? Listen, just listen to this.
No, he's not. And I know you guys are going to laugh at me.
Look at Marcus's face. He's
Marcus,
about to
he's
cry.
not.
I'm trying to think about
Did
who.
you shed
Well,
a tear?
Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes.
3.
So that's 3.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you something right now. I'll take Daniel Jones the way he's playing.
Oh.
And I'll tell you somebody else. I'm still going to take Hurts right there. Daniel Jones's performance on Sunday in Minnesota was absolutely, don't laugh at me, was superb. He played great. He ran for 70 yards. He was superb in the game. That was his first playoff game.
Do we want to get the
And that was as good a game as you're going to play. And I'm not knocking Prescott. His performance against that awful Tampa team, he played well. That team was 8-9. Minnesota won 13 games. So Daniel Jones is ahead of him. And how could you not put Hurts? He's the MVP of the league. Head, shoulder, and that. So I'll make Prescott. He's better than. He's over Purdy. I'll give you that. He's over Lawrence. I'll give you that. But the top 5.
He's over Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
No, I'll give you. He's over Purdy. You get one. He's over Purdy.
Yeah.
He's number 6.
He's over the rookie Purdy.
Purdy's 6. Lawrence 7. I'm putting Prescott 6. What's the matter with that? That's nothing wrong with that. Steve, that's a good one. Jones is 4. Hurts is 4. Jones is 5. And Prescott is 6.
You have Hurts ahead of Jones.
You better
have to.
I just said
He won 13 or 14 games.
You better not.
Let me help you out. See, you're not here because you usually on satellite. You're not here in studio.
Yeah.
Doggy didn't say that because of football reasons. He said that because she's soft.
Oh, okay.
See, that's what it is. He comes in there.
Okay.
He comes in. He comes. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. He comes in there. He comes in there with me. He's like, yes sir, yes sir, with me. But with Molly, hi Molly. How you doing? This is what he does, okay? Now, Molly is a huge giant fan. She has no objectivity. And so what happens is Doggy's gotten soft, all right? Because, first of all, you got to remember, he's been raised
He's gotten dumb.
I was not going to bring that up. I was not going to bring it up.
You know me, Swag. I called him Sunday. Right? I said, that damn Kirk.
Don't even try. You
his
picked
hair was all
Minnesota.
wild.
He picked
His
Minnesota.
hair was all wild. It wasn't slick back then. The hair was all over the place.
He had bad hair.
His hair was wild.
Yeah,
His hair was His hair was
Okay, we got enough of that. But here's what's funny. Okay, all right, so let's just okay. Dak and Daniel Jones both threw a little over 300 yards. Dak throws 4 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Daniel Jones throws 2 touchdowns, and of course, I don't think he had any rushing touchdowns, but he did rush for 70 yards. Daniel Jones, a 111 QBR. Dak Prescott, a 143. Now, either way, you take that kind of performance in the playoffs, right? But here's the thing that's kind of interesting here, because you heard, see, this is what they do. This is the bullshit that they feed you. Tampa Bay, they're an 8-9 team all season. You know, they're terrible. Yeah, they're terrible because their offense couldn't score. Their defense was ranked 15th. 15th. Do you know what the Minnesota Vikings defense was ranked last season? 30th. 30th. Come on. Let's be real here. Now we're making out that Minnesota is a juggernaut. That Minnesota is better than... I don't know that Minnesota is better than Tampa Bay. I really don't know. We blew out both of them. All right. Moving on. And this brings up the next section here. Because we do play a game against San Francisco. And I know people just like, why do you listen to this? Because it's not that I want to listen to those and get information. It's because a lot of people listen to those and they get their talking points from these guys. And they believe it to be fact, because when you hear something so many times, you start to believe it. Remember, Dak Prescott, he's a dink and dunk quarterback. Dak Prescott, garbage time. Dak Prescott can't beat winning teams. Dak Prescott can't beat playoff teams. All these things that they pound in your head. And Rashid, I love Rashid, and I can't wait to see him here tomorrow for the games. But Rashid was always like, garbage time. Dak is just garbage time. What? He pounded that even going into this year. Garbage time. Come on, man. Seriously. It's bullshit that they're feeding you. And I want to call out bullshit when I see it. Now, for the Cowboys, here's a couple of things that I hope are different, okay? Most people are picking the San Francisco 49ers. They've been pounding in your head that the 49ers have that great defense. Brock Purdy, basically the next Joe Montana. He's been incredible. And in the same way, Daniel Jones is going against an ass defense. That's what Brock Purdy has been going against. Seriously. Do you know? Check this out. We'll go backwards in the defenses that Brock Purdy has faced. The Seattle Seahawks that they beat in the playoffs, 25th on total defense. The final game of the season, the Cardinals, 31st on defense. In the big shootout against the Raiders, they scored 38 points. The Raiders, 26 on defense. The Commanders, surprisingly, was the best defense that he faced. 7th. Then there was the Seahawks again at 25, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 15, and the Miami Dolphins at 24. I'm not sure that we looking at the defenses that they faced. Brock Purdy, don't get it twisted. They have incredible weapons. They got a great tight end. They got Debo, who is, like the ultimate weapon, can run and catch. They got a good offensive line. They got the best tackle in football. They got great running back in McCaffrey. They have a lot of weapons. Don't misunderstand and don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're not a great team. They are. They are. But guess what? So are the Dallas Cowboys. Do you think Brock Purdy has faced anybody like Micah Parsons? The things the Cowboys have going for them. The Dallas Cowboys lead the NFL in pressures, led by Micah Parsons, who has 74 on the season. Cardinals, they ain't doing that. The Raiders, they ain't doing that. The Seahawks, they ain't doing that. If you got time as an NFL quarterback, it's easy. Eventually, I don't care who you are, if you've got 4 seconds, somebody's going to be open. You got time to figure out where you're going. But you got a rookie that this is the first time that he's going to have people going after that ass. He's not a veteran like Jimmy G. If the Cowboys can slow down the run, they got that advantage of going after the rookie. Looking, and this is painful. This is painful here. This is the stat lines from last year's playoff game. Last year's playoff game where they came in and they bitch slapped us. They came in there like they owned the place. And it's time for the Cowboys to return the favor. When we look at the numbers, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't do anything special. 16 of 25, 172 yards, 1 interception. But it was their running game that killed us. Elijah Mitchell, 96 yards. Debo Samuels, 72 yards. Got to stop the run. Got to stop the run. But on the flip side, here's the problem. People always, Dak sucks. Dak sucks. We suck because of Dak. But you can't put all that game. Yes, you can put on the didn't get down quick enough. Fine. Go ahead. Put that on there. But he was the only thing we had going in that game. 23 of 43, 254 yards. But I want you to pay attention right here. Sacked 5 times by San Francisco. We cannot allow Dak to get sacked like that, but I dare say that this offensive line is in a better place than it was last year. If we protect Dak and give Dak time, Dak will eat them up. CeeDee Lamb will feast. Second problem for the Dallas Cowboys. Look down here. Zeke Elliott, 12 carries, 31 yards. His long one was 9 yards. Dak Prescott was our second leading rusher, 4 carries, 27 yards. Tony Pollard, 4 carries, 14 yards. We rushed for a total of 77 yards versus 169. We must be able to run the football better. We must. And when you go through and blame Dak Prescott on last year's loss, you got to look at the offensive line who got him sacked 5 times, and you got to look at the running game that got him 50 yards. 50 yards is what Zeke and Tony Pollard got. Final thing that may be going in our favor. Final thing. Bill Vanoich is the head referee crew for the game. Here is great news. If you remember that playoff game, beyond the offensive line not being able to block, beyond the running backs not being able to get yardage because the offensive line could not block, beyond the Dallas Cowboys defense not being able to stop the run, we had 14 penalties in that game. 14 penalties in that game. Now, you could look at this and say, with Bill, their crew averages 10 flags a game. Total. That's both sides. Both sides. And our penalty machines of Randy Gregory, Mr. You know what, I'm going to punch a guy after the game and get suspended. Mr. I'm going to tackle an offensive lineman and get a holding call. I'm going to hit the quarterback below the knees late and get unnecessary roughness. Gregory. He's in Denver. Connor Williams. He's in Miami. Lyle, I got 11 penalties in 10 games. It's in Cincinnati. Our big penalty machines are gone. Now, here's the amazing thing about all of this. Offensive line couldn't block. Running backs couldn't run. The defense couldn't stop the run. And we couldn't stop having penalties. The amazing thing is this game went down to the last drive. You take away just one of those things in that game, that we couldn't run the ball, or the penalties, or we couldn't stop the run. You take away any one of those things, the Cowboys win that game. Going into this game, Cowboys still get a lot of penalties because they're America's team. There should be a whole lot more penalties called on the opposition just from the holdings of Michael Parsons. But we don't get those calls. We should be better there. Zeke has kind of gone downhill and become just that short yardage guy. But Tony Pollard has developed into that guy and should be able to gain some yardage. Dak Prescott last week was on fire. The offensive line, Tyron Smith, getting back and getting those games under his belt, has been getting better and better and better at right tackle. Tyler Smith has played really good at left. Biotis getting back last week was huge. Zach Martin, of course, is doing Zach Martin things. Connor McGovern has become a solid guard. The offensive line is truly better. And you add into that now, we got T.Y. Hilton is helping the passing game. Michael Gallup seems to be getting into a flow, was better last week. Seemed like he moved better. And the Cowboys have the momentum of revenge on the chip on their shoulder, as well as finally getting this playoff monkey off their back. This Tom Brady off their back. And this is why I look at this and say, you know, football is a crazy game. Football is a crazy game. Anybody can beat you on any given Sunday. And most games, you can take it down to 3 or 4 plays are the difference of winning and losing in any game. I don't care if it's a 1-point game or if it's a 40-burger point game. 4 plays are the difference between winning and losing. Let's listen in and see what Marshall Faulk thinks about Brock Purdy.
Of the Kurt Warner scenario. We had Kurt in hour 2. He said it's really dangerous to make too many comparisons, but as somebody who watched a quarterback come into a locker room and take over calmly and confidently and kind of exceed everyone's expectations, do you see any parallels there?
As much as Kurt would say no, yes, just because of how he got here, someone getting hurt, the whole story, and this kid wasn't on anybody's radar. But let's be honest, he was not on anybody's radar. Now, either John Lynch and his crew are awful at evaluating, or the head coach play caller is doing a much better job calling plays for this guy than he did Garoppolo at any point in time in Garoppolo's career, because we can't really say much about Trey Lance. We don't really have much on him, but this young man and how he's getting through, it's just the progressions and the calmness that he gets through his progressions and not allow things to bother him. Now, he hasn't had the game where he hasn't lost the game for them, so we don't know what the bounce back is like. And we might not get to find out. They look really good, really good.
What was it like for you, though? And I make the comparisons again to 99. What's the pressure like on this kid at this point? Because you got to watch Kurt absorb it all on his shoulders firsthand. So what would you imagine the pressure is like now for Purdy?
There isn't. There's not any pressure. Like, in reality, he's not supposed to be here. This team is supposed to – they were supposed to just lose. They were on their third quarterback. Now, who's the pressure on? The pressure's on Christian McCaffrey. They traded for him. I know what he's feeling because I felt that when Trent went down. I know where he is. I get it. The pressure's on his defense to get it done. Deebo Samuels, he asked for all this money, and hey, we can get this done. The pressure's on the other people around him. For him, he's playing with house money. He's already proven that in the latter parts of the season, he could win games, and that's what we want to find out about young quarterbacks. He's proven that. This is like, I really see no pressure on him. The play caller got to do a better job, get him in better situations. The offensive line got to keep him upright. Best scenario possible for a quarterback, which is the expectations are very low for this young man.
Mm-hmm.
And yet at the same time, Marshall, it's like he has this dream season, this never before, this dream season in front of him. So I would feel like it would be the opposite.
No, he didn't expect to be here. We weren't hyping him up. He wasn't a part of who was going to be the Niners quarterback talk. He wasn't a part of that. So what he's done is literally, it's like, if I say, hey, Susie, lift this car, you'd probably say no. But if one of your kids was under that car, you'd lift it up.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been thrown into the fire, and he's responding, playing football.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen the moment. The moments that he's been in, they haven't seemed too big for him. Now, these moments are going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Obviously, this is probably the most hyped and talked about game when you're playing against the Cowboys.
Yep. Because
the Cowboys they've won the last 10 Super Bowls, right? Or maybe not.
or
maybe not.
I'm like, wait, what? It's been
right.
a while.
Or maybe not. No.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, but I'm just saying the way we talk about them, no, that didn't happen. But the reality is this game and how big it is, like this is probably, unless he gets to the Super Bowl, I don't think there's going to be a game that's going to be talked about more than this game. And I'm talking about if he reached the NFC Championship and he's playing the Giants or the Eagles, it will not be talked about the way they're going to be talked about against the Cowboys.
Well, I was going to go the other way around, Marshall, but let's start with this game then first. Let's start with the last game of the weekend, Cowboys at 49ers. What do you expect?
The Dallas Cowboys cannot lose to this kid.
Yep.
Like this is, we watched this. We watched this last year, and Garoppolo, who was not playing that great, they went into Dallas and beat Dallas. This feels like the 8-win Steve Young days. You know, this is like we're going back to those days with the Cowboys and Niners playing, you know, in meaningful playoff games. This is like, you know, football royalty at its best. And as I said, this game is going to be hyped up. It drew the number one slot. You like when you're telling me that on a Sunday, the New York Football Giants is not on the
in the Eagles.
They gave it to Dallas and San Francisco.
Yep.
I mean, that's a big play right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel.
It's the biggest game out there, and one of the reasons why, if you are a conspiracy theorist out there and believe that the NFL is scripted, why you would want the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter who the Cowboys play. It doesn't. They will draw more than anybody else. All right, good people, we got a very busy day today. Trying to think of the sub for the weekend. You know, all during the regular season, I was doing foods from the, you know, cities that we were playing. I ain't doing nothing for San Francisco. Screw San Francisco. Last weekend, we did the Jobu Heater, the Mojo Heater. And if you understand the Jobu legacy and things, it's about chicken. It's about chicken, rum, and cigars. So I'm working on the sub for this week, and I need something that's going to be spicy and it's going to be messy. And I'm thinking about a jerk Jobu sub. We're going to smoke some chicken thighs and shred it up with like a honey bonnet barbecue sauce, the little crispy coleslaw on it. I think that's what we need. We need to get sloppy, hot, and dirty. I'm Mark Holmes, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I will see you probably out in the workshop, because I'll be working in the shop as well today. Soon. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and all the thing else I got to